His chest opens, not in a cutscene, not as a story beat. In the official model, the prototype's ribcage is rigged to open and close. Most players never notice because by the time you're close enough to see it, you're usually dead. But once you see it, it raises a question nobody in the community has fully answered. What exactly is he hiding in there, and how many ways can he use it? There's something inside his chest. The official Chapter 5 model confirms it. The prototype has an opening ribcage and something described as a lantern-type mechanism on the lower chest. It's visible in the model data, not fan speculation, not a texture glitch. Mob put it there deliberately, and they didn't give it a narrative explanation in Chapter 5. The community started cross-referencing. In the Jessica VHS tape, the prototype is seen setting someone on fire. The assumption was always that this was some kind of external weapon, something he picked up or used from the environment. But if there's a lantern mechanism built into his chest, the question shifts. Is it possible he generates that ignition himself? Kissy's burns have no explanation. At the end of Chapter 3, Kissy Missy shows visible burn marks. There's no fire in that sequence from anything the player does or sees on screen, and Kissy wasn't fighting anyone at that point. The community has been sitting on this detail for a while, and the fire theory around the prototype is largely built on it. It's circumstantial, but it fits the pattern. The prototype doesn't telegraph his abilities. He doesn't demonstrate them for the player. He uses them, and you piece together what happened afterward. Kissy's burns could be from something environmental. They could also be the only visible evidence that the lantern mechanism in his chest has already been used against a character we were supposed to trust. Stun grenades and the targeting problem. There's another mechanic the community has flagged. Stun grenades. The prototype has been observed, or at least strongly implied in certain sequences, to be capable of disorienting targets before engaging them directly. For a character whose entire design philosophy seems to be absorption and adaptation, a disorientation tool makes more sense than it might at first. Think about how he operates. He doesn't chase, he positions, he waits at choke points, he cuts off exits, he arrives after other threats have already worn the player down. A stun mechanic would fit that style perfectly, not as a weapon in itself, but as the thing that happens right before he decides you're not going anywhere. A modular weapon, not a fixed one. The prototype incorporates parts from other toys, Mommy Longlegs, Catnap, Huggy, and Kissy by the end of Chapter 5. He keeps adding to himself. The prevailing theory is that this isn't cosmetic. Each edition presumably comes with whatever capability that toy had. Catnap produced red smoke through biological mechanisms. Huggy had speed and reach. If the rib cage is a modular cavity, something he can load differently depending on what he's absorbed, then the fire, the potential stun, and whatever else gets attributed to him aren't separate abilities. They're iterations of the same system. The chest opens, something goes in or comes out. The community just hasn't been able to confirm what's already in there. None of this is confirmed. The fire on Jessica is in the VHS. The burns on Kissy are visible. The ribcage mechanism is in the model. Everything else is the community connecting dots that Mob may or may not have intended to be connected. Chapter 6 will either explain it or add 3 more layers to it. Given how they handled Giblet, who wasn't even in the original script and still had 2 decades of lore built into him, it's probably the latter.